Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/JustNoMil. In today's episode, JustNoMil finally lost grandchild access for rest of summer. My MIL fabricated text messages to gain pity. Husband just realized. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. JustNoMil finally lost grandchild access for rest of summer. On Tuesday, I invited my MIL to go to the zoo on Thursday with me and the kiddos. She was delighted for invite. She asked if she could keep kids Tuesday night, and I said fine. Went to get them this afternoon, and she told me kids were great, and that she called the zoo and was told animal habitats were being cleaned so they wouldn't be out on Thursday. So did I think we should reschedule? To which I said yes. 2 hours later, my hubby, kids, and I are driving to dinner, and my hubby announces he stopped by in-laws' house today to say hi BC. He was working nearby but nobody was there. I said that was odd BC. To my knowledge, they stayed home all day. That's when son, too, starts telling us all about their trip to the zoo today. Then my daughter, also too, starts telling us all about how the animals weren't there today. So I call my MIL immediately and ask her if they went to the zoo today, and after a long silence she says yes. I said, so you took them today even though we had plans as a family to go tomorrow? And she says yes. I have a DR appointment in AM and I say I'll see you at 9 tomorrow, goodbye. So this really bothers me. She called me 3 times back to back and then starts texting me about unrelated babysitting stuff for next week. After some reflection, I responded that I don't need any help next week with childcare, nor will I be needing any help for the remainder of the summer. I wasn't mean about it, I just said that it was easier to do my volunteer work when my oldest is in school, so I'll be taking July off. I'm pleased to report that for the very first time ever, my husband is on board and supportive of this initiative. MIL asks if this is BC. I'm upset about the zoo, and she apologized in the way that's not really an apology. The old I apologize if your feelings are hurt, when the right thing to say would have been I'm sorry for not telling you I took your kids to the zoo without informing you and purposely withholding that info BC. I knew it was wrong of me to do. So yeah. JustNoMil has been getting the boundaries smacked on her since Mother's Day, and she finally effed up big enough to lose access to grandkids. I don't really know what to say to her at this point. That's not totally beholdish, and I'd rather not stoop to hostility. But yeah, JNMIL took herself out of the equation. As a grandmother, I do not understand this. We took our grandson to Florida and our daughter didn't want us to take him to the beach because they wanted to take him first. So what did we do? We honored her request. Why is that so freaking hard for grandparents to do? I mean, we took him to Legoland twice, they didn't ask us not to. The only request was not to take him to the beach first. I don't understand why certain grandparents feel they are entitled to do whatever they want. A friend of mine recently posted on social media that his first grandson had been born. Someone asked him if he had taken any photos of the new baby. He said yes, of course. They asked him to share the photos. You know what he said? Nope. The parents should be the first to share photos of their baby. Like you, he gets it. Being included wasn't enough for her. She needed to exclude you from the outing you planned. I'm sorry, OP. It's sad to see someone stoop so low to be petty and controlling. I don't think you can trust a thing she says now. In addition to the lying, this was a big overstep, emo. You and your DH should know where your toddlers are at all times. The world is crazy right now. The thought that something could have happened near or at the zoo, you could hear about it on the news, and have no idea your children are there is alarming. I babysat for my toddler grandchild yesterday, texted my DD to ask if it was okay if we took a ride to go through a Starbucks drive-thru. Because she's the mom, and should know and okay anyone taking her child anywhere. And I knew the answer would be yes, it always is. That wasn't nice or thoughtful of me, it's the responsible thing to do. I've never heard of habitat cleaning being a big thing. Don't zoos routinely clean them on a rotation? Not one day where multiple areas would be shut down? Just staffing wise, that sounds implausible. That was the first thing she said that sounded off. What a cow. Earned what she got. By the way, does MIL have 2 appropriate car seats in her car? Which I assume she used to drive the 2 toddlers to the zoo? Because if she doesn't, then she probably broke the law in most states of the USA. What she should have told you was something like this: Name, I owe you and my son a sincere apology. I'm ashamed that I was selfish and took the kids to the zoo so I could have that experience all to myself. I'm ashamed I tried to hide it from you after the fact. I have broken your trust and I hope you will give me a chance to earn it back. She lied to you to take this moment from you. When she complains about not seeing the kids all summer, you can tell her, I'm sorry your feelings are hurt. Not close to enough. She has earned no contact for a couple of months while she contemplates how selfish and stupid she was. But if OP and DH are generous enough to talk to her and she whines, Name, given what you did, you should be grateful that we might consider allowing you to visit with the kids, under our supervision, sometime before the year ends. Zookeeper here: animal enclosures are cleaned every single day unless you're visiting some janky-ass roadside attraction. Animals may be held back for a brief amount of time while keepers are in a yard or something, but absolutely not taken fully off exhibit for an entire day to clean. LOL. That's absurd. Though animals could have also been off exhibit for other reasons. Temperature restrictions, renovations to the enclosure, or off exhibit due to illness, etc. Our zoo had all the bird exhibits closed due to avian flu, for instance. Since OP's MIL has a bad track record with the truth, I'd take anything she says with many grains of salt. MIL has really missed the point here. It's not about the zoo, it's about taking someone else's kids for a drive without permission. You just can't do that. And lying to the parents as well. I really just don't understand actions like this. Did she really think your kids wouldn't tell you and she would get away with it? Glad your husband is backing you up. This is the third lie I've caught her in within the last 3 weeks. It's the first that actively involves my children. First one I've caught onto, I should say. I'm really proud of my husband right now. My MIL fabricated text messages to gain pity. If I got paid for being completely disrespected by my MIL, I'd be a very rich woman. For whatever reason, it started when I, 29-year-old female, got pregnant last year. My husband, 29-year-old male, and I struggled with infertility issues and a miscarriage for years before successfully conceiving. I'm proud to announce we had a healthy boy November of 2021. Because it was peak COVID numbers and flu and RSV season, his pediatrician recommended not going to Thanksgiving gatherings. However, we chose to go anyways. Beforehand, I had a conversation with everyone that would be attending my husband's family gathering. I will say, because of the miscarriage and being a first-time mom, I have been overly cautious. I stated that while we would be attending, because my son would be less than 2 weeks old, we would not be passing him around as we didn't want to take any risks, and to please let us know if anyone was sick or had been around anyone sick. Thanksgiving came. When his cousins got there, his mother greeted them and went on and on about how sick their mother had been and she was glad they could make it. I was on fire, but because she is my husband's mother, I remained quiet out of respect. Side note, I also struggle with confrontation, especially with my elders. At the end of the gathering, my son was fussy, he's breastfed and obviously very hungry. I said, okay, well, it was good seeing y'all. I'm going to go feed him, and started to walk away. She grabbed me and begged to hold him just for a minute. I felt as though the 2 things I asked for that were completely manageable were completely disregarded by her, as well as other members of the family. Also, who wants to take a crying newborn away from the mom? Fast forward to Christmas, she texted me the plans. I responded that because sick people came to Thanksgiving and nobody bothered to tell us even after our requests, we weren't taking any exceptions and would be spending this Christmas just us. To be fair, I also skipped my own family's Christmas. She pleaded and said nobody was sick, but we stuck to our decision. Christmas comes, his brother's wife, and their 3 children all had COVID and still attended. Did anyone ever mention that to us? No. We saw it in a Facebook comment. She texted me asking if she could bring the presents over the next day. I said since she was around all of those sick people the day before to please give it a couple of days just to be safe. She said she understood. I left the house and ran to the grocery store. You can only guess what happened. She showed up, unannounced, walked right in, something else we'd discussed with her about not doing, and gave my husband the gifts. My husband feels the same way I do about things, so he did ask her to leave. But in my opinion, her complete disrespect for us as parents was already shown. I texted her when he called me about what happened and confronted her. Her response? 1 Thessalonians 4 verses 1-8. You might want to go read the first of the chapter. My husband and I got pregnant before getting married. I quit responding to her. Months went by, no word from her. She did still keep in contact with my husband. Finally, she texted him and told him she always texts me begging to see her grandson and I ignore her. She sent screenshots of pages and pages of green texts. We have iPhones, dating back months. She said I think she has my number blocked. My husband told her I probably wasn't talking to her because she sent me Bible verses about premarital sex. To which she denied. He asked me for the screenshot, I sent it and he forwarded it to her. I also never had her number blocked and told my husband I don't know who she's texting, but it isn't me. Before he could bring that up to her, she sent back an actual screenshot of our last texts, blue. Which would have been the last conversation we had. Both of these screenshots were taken within minutes of each other, and she had to go to 2 different text threads to take them. This woman just outed herself. She had intentionally been texting the wrong number to make me look bad to my husband and other family members. To make me look like I am keeping her grandson from her. I thoroughly underestimated her level of crazy and I'm not sure where to go from here. I do know I don't trust her. Honestly, she's earned what she said has been happening all along. She doesn't get to see your LO because she can't be trusted with him. If she wants access to your child, she needs to improve her behavior. That starts with apologies for the stuff she's already pulled. Real apologies, stating what she did, how she knows it was wrong, and what she'll do to improve in the future. I'd also throw in there that she admit to the rest of the family she's been faking your lack of response for months. Once that's done, she spends some time respecting your wishes and your space. Then maybe you can talk about visits with LO. I'd also suggest getting into the habit of locking your doors to your house. If she has a key and is using that to let herself in, change or rekey the locks. OP, she wants you and DH apart. Anything you do will be met in that vein. DH can have whatever relationship he wants with his mother, but she has already shown you who she is, believe her. It is far better to be respected than to be liked. I would tell DH that until she gets some sort of help for her issues, you see no way back from this blatant lie. Until your child is old enough to decide what Ella wants, y'all can go to the park while daddy visits his family. I am over here rolling my eyes hard at her audacity and wonder if she is willing to go this far. Why would you ever want her near your child? That's a huge issue with me as at this point, I can never trust her alone with my child and I don't think I'll ever work past that unless things drastically change. Which doesn't seem likely as of now. You stay no contact. That woman is conniving. To switch text threads and send screenshots, not realizing you would be able to tell they were 2 different contacts, she's not too bright. The fact she's deliberately trying to cause strife in your relationship with so is something she needs real consequences for. You're being a great mom, you're doing your best to protect LO. That job takes priority over every other role or responsibility you have. MIL sounds like a careless and foolish woman. She can see LO at kindergarten graduation. You should be keeping your child away from her, and anyone in the extended family that has a problem with it can keep their opinions to themselves. You're completely justified. Another commenter suggested some appropriate Bible verses. I'd add these. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. Proverbs 12 verse 22. Whoever would love life and see good days must keep their tongue from evil and their lips from deceitful speech. 1 Peter 3 verses 10 to 11. Whoever conceals hatred with lying lips and spreads slander is a fool. Proverbs 10 verse 18. Not actually suggesting you initiate contact with your MIL, but if the occasion arises. Do not give dogs what is sacred, do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet, and turn and tear you to pieces. Matthew 7, 6 NIV. This is the kind of petty I am. You can't possibly be thinking about anything other than NC for you and your child. This is insane. Tell your DHU and baby are done and she is cut off, then block her everywhere. I do want to go and see, but I kind of downplayed this whole incident along with others to myself and thought maybe it was too far. How could you be unsure how to continue? She disrespects you, endangers your baby, and outright lies. I didn't have you blocked like you accused me of, but you've earned it and I've blocked you now. I mean, you definitely should be keeping her grandson from her, for his own safety. You should never trust her. JustNoMil went to great lengths to discredit you to the family by taking a load of text messages that were totally false. NC is the only real answer for you as an individual, and until she apologizes to you, DH, and the family, she doesn't get to see DS. Since she also lies about illnesses, she can't be trusted near DS without a thorough vetting. I hope you are now locking your doors so she can't come waltzing in whenever she wants. Also get some chains on your doors so that if you accidentally open the door to her and don't want her in the house, she can't force herself past you. Security doors and new locks are also an idea. Husband just realized that birthday cards don't magically buy and send themselves. MIL and DS's birthdays are tomorrow. DH just came out from our office area, he works from home now, and asked where I buy birthday cards at. He knew that I was doing nothing for her and just figured out that meant that, if he wanted her to get even a cat, that he was going to have to do everything for it. I'm now over here snickering in to buy my coffee, watching Bluey with DS, as I picture the butthurt look on MIL's face when there isn't anything in her mailbox tomorrow, and then when whatever store-bought card husband buys her, haphazardly signs and throws in the mail arrives. Not knocking store-bought cards, I send plenty of them, but I like to take the time and make, I hope, beautiful or at least meaningful hand-made cards with DS now adding some flourishes, like hand or footprints. On a much happier note, my very much Justy's parents will be arriving tomorrow. After checking onto their hotel down the street, they call and come over to see DS and us, the start to a relaxed long weekend to celebrate DS on his first birthday. Well done. When I was first married, my MIL tried to hand me a list of all his family's birthdays and anniversaries so that I could make sure they were observed. I pointed to DH and told her that his side of the family was entirely his responsibility and that I wouldn't be taking on the emotional work of remembering these things. Needless to say, although she did grudgingly hand him the list, no cards were ever sent. Not my problem. When my husband and I married, my MIL started contacting me for all the family events and planning and coordinating. At least my husband was mortified and told her to not contact me for that stuff, either contact him or both of us. Boss move. Just love it. I stopped buying my MIL gifts after she criticized everyone I bought. This year she received nothing for her birthday, Christmas, or Mother's Day. I don't feel bad at all. My husband stopped caring after he got a used North Face and I got used lotion for Christmas versus his 14-year-old brother getting a 3K PC and sister getting a brand new TV. We are not superficial. Those gifts would have been fine except the obvious price difference was just another way to show her favoritism. I wish I could see every just no faces when this boundary is created. As someone who has also been the recipient of the previously used gift, I can commiserate. I, too, would love to see the faces. It will be interesting to see if hubby even sends a card, or anything to her ever again. Yep, same. I stopped doing anything for his family a few years ago and my DH forgets every year. I know it's one more thing they blame me for, but I love watching the calendar as his mom's birthday comes and goes and he does nothing. I'm sure I'll somehow get the blame as well. Oh well. I am dropping the rope on gifts and cards this year for the first time, 5 years married. I've always tried to get really lovely and thoughtful gifts because I have nice in-laws and think a lot of them, but the gifts I've received vary from quite good to shocking. Some highlights include: box of 4 socks from Mill for my birthday. Men's wash bag and toiletries from FIL and SMIL. Lava lamp from FIL. A 3-pound candle from SIL from my birthday. I've always prompted DH for birthdays, bought cards, gifts, wrapped things really nicely, included balloons, tissue paper, ribbons, the works, for sales as well as Mill and Phil and their partners. Usually there is almost zero effort for my Christmas and birthday, not that I'm in need of gifts, but it's the thought that apparently doesn't count. I genuinely think they don't realize/think about how I must be the one putting effort in. What made me decide to drop the gift rope this year, though, was DH's assumption and couldn't give a shot attitude this Christmas just gone. He continuously asked me what I had bought so and so, but didn't listen/remember. I got sick of showing him the lovely things I'd picked out over the last 2 months for his family. Then, a few days before Christmas, I told him he needed to wrap the gifts, write the tags in cards and deliver them round. I laid out all the gift wrap for him and couldn't have made it easier. He responded like a toddler, saying it was too stressful, and basically had a small tantrum BC he didn't want to wrap any gifts. I couldn't believe my eyes. Eventually, after I locked him in the room, he made a start, then still questioned what had I bought for his mom? I almost threw the handmade glass fish at the wall and swore never again was I shopping on his behalf. In January, I made sure that all his nieces' and nephews' birthdays were on our calendar and have bought them all. They are all under 10, a card. Other than that, I'm not going to mention anything, no reminders, nothing. Just sit back with popcorn and enjoy the show. So far, DH did 0 for Mother's Day for MIL, but did well with his dad's 70th birthday. 3 birthdays to go and then Christmas. In all the time I've been lurking here, I've never once seen a man complain that his wife is bad at remembering her family's important dates and he's expected to run around after her and make sure she buys cards on time. What is it about dudes that they feel entitled to this sh*T from us? My FIL had the audacity on Father's Day to say, in the tone of a toddler, "Where's my present?" DH was so taken aback that he replied, "It's combined with your birthday present." Of course FIL replied, "But my birthday was weeks ago." I'm fairly certain DH sent nothing. Tongue sticking out. I know he didn't send her anything for Mother's Day, but he did do a video call so she could see DS. Son fussed and wanted to get down and play because I didn't stay around to make silly faces to make it seem like he was engaged. It's amazing the things that won't get done if we don't do them. I'm snickering right along with you. I love it. I used to handle all the Mother's Day/birthday flowers and cards. When MIL turned JN, DH sent her first post-JN Mother's Day gift a couple weeks late. To be fair, his birthday fell on Mother's Day and we were on vacation during that time. DH eventually reached out when we got back from our vacation to let her know that her gift was coming. She told DH that when she hadn't received anything, she went to another address that shared her street name. Let's say her street name is Oak Tree Drive, the other street is called Oak Tree Lane, to do a drive-by to see if anything was on their porch, and then wanted to drive by again to knock on the door and ask them if they received anything that belonged to her. LOL. Then she asked him to double-check the shipping info to make sure the address is correct. So glad you have so much confidence in JustNoMil. I just finished a furious text exchange with STBX about what his insurance info was for our DD who's college bound. He knew nothing and then complained about having to pay $250 when I have shelled out literally thousands of dollars for tuition and dorm deposits, prom prep, graduation trip, and grad dinner for her and her best friends. Thank goodness I have never had to deal with gifting his family anything. I'd be a felon. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.